Hi everyone, welcome back. Our topic this week are natural and electrical light sources. And in this video, we're going to cover some of the most common types of electrical light sources. Light sources can be categorized as natural or artificial, also called electrical. All right. And we've already talked about some of the natural light sources, including which include fire, candles, and moonlight. All right. And of course, we focused on daylighting with with the sun. Now, over here in the artificial or electrical category, you can subdivide these light sources into incandescent, discharge, and solid state lighting types. All right. The most common, and the three that we're going to focus on in this video, are incandescent lamps, fluorescent lamps, and LED lamps. Let's start by talking about incandescent lamps. This is the oldest electrical light source. We all know the story about Thomas Edison and the electric light, all right? Incandescent lights are incandescent lamps are popular because they provide the greatest amount of flexibility. All right, you can dim them, you can focus them. Also, they provide a very familiar, a very warm light, and very high color rendering index. The amount of light that incandescent lamps put out is typically measured in watts. We talked about a 40-watt bulb versus a 100-watt bulb. And sadly, incandescent lamps are no longer allowed in California. All right, Title 24 requires a higher efficacy than incandescent lamps can provide. We will not be placing incandescent lamps in any of our projects. Now, the light from incandescent lamps was produced by heating up a filament until it glows. Fluorescent lamps are very different. They don't use those filaments. Instead, they use a ballast. All right, and so you can see one here in this picture. Here are some fluorescent tubes. And here is the ballast that goes along with them. The ballast is typically tucked away somewhere in the luminaire, in the light fixture. So fluorescent lamps are highly energy efficient. They have a high lumen output, all right? They produce a lot of light, and they have long life, right? So they're actually quite a good choice for your projects. They don't give off a lot of heat. They have low initial cost and low operating cost, all right? And there are a variety of color options. All right, fluorescent lamps have a little bit of a bad name because the initial technology only produced very, very cool light, very blue-green. All right, we've moved past that, and now your fluorescents can give you much warmer light. The most common fluorescent lamps are the straight tubes, and the T8 and the T5 are probably the most common within that category. So here we have an example of a fluorescent luminaire using fluorescent lamps, and these are T5 fluorescent lamps. They're long and straight, and we're looking at them in cross section. So we see them in a circle. Right? You can kind of see this curved shape of the luminaire in cross section. And here it is in a picture. You can see it's right up there. All right. The ballast for this lamp, probably, it's not labeled, but it's probably located tucked right in this center section. All right. You can also have compact fluorescent lamps, and these are abbreviated CFL. All right, so you can also have CFLs. CFLs are a good alternative for luminaires that were built for incandescent bulbs, but we can no longer use the incandescent bulbs. The downside of this is that that would require that the ballast be built into the bulb, all right, if you're going to swap them out. Or you can use a fixture that's specifically designed for CFLs and has the ballast built into the fixture. All right. So here we have an example down here. All of these lamps are designed to be replacement bulbs. All right. And so they're built with the ballast right here in the lamp. And that's this kind of bulky section right here. Those are the ballasts for these particular lamps. So let's talk about LEDs. An LED is a semiconductor, and it is a chemical chip. There's a little chip, it's right here, this is the green piece, embedded in this plastic capsule, basically, which is the lens right here. We're seeing a cutaway version of that lens. All right. And what happens is we run electricity to this chip or through this chip. It excites the semiconductor, which emits light. All right. And the chemicals or the specific makeup of that semiconductor determine the color of the light that's produced. Now, LEDs can come in replaceable lamps, like a bulb that you take out and can replace into a luminaire, or you can have an LED luminaire specifically. It's a complete lighting system in its own housing. And that's going to include the LED lamp, a heat sink, all right, because it's a closed system. Even the tiny amount of heat that the LED puts out can cause problems, all right. It includes a driver. So fluorescent lamps use ballasts, LEDs use drivers. And of course, there's the housing, which includes some reflectors and some different surfaces that help direct the light and also to reduce glare. So LEDs, they have a relatively high initial cost, all right? The at least compared to those fluorescents. Now, as they come more and more on the market, this has rapidly gone down, but at the moment they're still more expensive. LEDs are very durable and resistant to breakage. If you drop one, it probably will still be okay. If you drop a fluorescent tube, you got a cleanup problem. LEDs are very, very small. They are compact in size. They also have a long life. They are extremely energy efficient, meaning they have high efficacy. LEDs are extremely directional. They have no warm-up time. They turn on instantly. All right. Fluorescents have gotten better. They used to have a longer warm-up time. And there are some other lamp options that have significant warm-up time. All right. And finally, and this is very important, LEDs are dimmable. All right, everyone, in this video, we just covered some of the most common types of electric light sources, and those were incandescent, fluorescent, and LED.